Jerusalem was conquered around 1000 BCE by King David, who made it the capital of the Kingdom of Israel. During the reign of his son, King Solomon, the first temple, also known as Solomon's Temple, was constructed around 957 BCE, becoming the spiritual center of the Jewish faith. Solomon's magnificent temple was built on Mount Moriah, traditionally considered the site where Abraham was prepared to sacrifice his son Isaac. Upon dedicating the temple, Solomon proclaimed, "I have surely built thee an house to dwell in." In Hebrew, the temple is called Beth Yahweh Har Habayit, Mountain of the House. The Temple Mount, home to this first temple, was viewed as the house of Yahweh, the sacred name for God in monotheistic belief. Out of reverence, the name Yahweh was rarely spoken aloud, with Adonai being used instead. This term evolved into Rab in Islam, and God in Christianity. At the heart of the temple stood the Ark of the Covenant, believed to contain the 10 Commandments given to Moses, Aaron's miraculous budding rod, and a portion of manna, sacred relics revered by the 3 Abrahamic faiths. The Ark symbolized God's presence on earth, his throne flanked by cherubim, as well as the covenant between God and his people. According to Deuteronomy 12, sacrifices were only to be performed at the Jerusalem temple. This made the temple the central religious, political, social, and economic institution in ancient Israel. From the time of Hezekiah and Josiah, it was the exclusive location for worship through sacrifices, offerings, fasting, prayer, and hymns. Although features like altars, basins, candlesticks, and priestly garments were familiar in surrounding pagan cultures, Israelite temples were unique in having no images or statues of their God. While the Bible gives limited symbolic explanations, during the Hellenistic Roman period, Jewish thinkers like Philo and Josephus interpreted the temple cosmologically. Philo saw the high priest's garments as representing the cosmos, the robe as air, embroidered flowers as earth, and pomegranates as water. Josephus interpreted the menorah's 7 lamps as the planets, the 12 showbread loaves as the zodiac and the calendar, and the incense's 13 spices as representing all creation. He described the temple's veil as symbolizing fire, scarlet, earth, linen, air, blue, and sea, purple, with a depiction of the heavens above. Of the Holy of Holies, he wrote, "In this stood nothing whatever, unapproachable, inviolable, invisible to all." This first temple stood during the time of prophets such as Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Lehi, who warned that failure to uphold the covenant would lead to destruction. After centuries of spiritual decline, the northern kingdom of Israel fell to the Assyrians in 722 BCE. Judah, despite reforms, also disobeyed the covenant. In 586 BCE, Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar captured Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, and exiled much of the population. Judah had become an unwilling Babylonian vassal and sought an alliance with Egypt, which Babylon viewed as betrayal. As punishment, Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to Jerusalem and demolished the temple, a spiritual and cultural catastrophe for the Jews. Many elites were exiled to Babylon in a strategy aimed at dissolving leadership. The destruction triggered a theological crisis. If God's house could be destroyed, how could his presence endure? This led to new theological thinking that God could be worshipped outside the temple. In 539 BCE, Persia conquered Babylon, and King Cyrus allowed the exiled Jews to return and rebuild their temple. Led by Zerubbabel, they constructed what became known as the Second Temple around 516 BCE. Though modest compared to Solomon's, it was rededicated and became a central place of worship again. Those who remembered the first temple wept at its simplicity, but with Persian and later Hellenistic patronage, it was expanded and enriched. From 515 to 198 BCE, under the Persians and then the Egypt-based Ptolemies, the temple saw a peaceful era. This ended when the Seleucids defeated the Ptolemies and took control of Judea in 198 BCE. Under Antiochus IV Epiphanes, which is 165 BCE, Judaism was outlawed, and pagan sacrifices were conducted in the temple. Outraged, the Jews, led by the Maccabees, revolted and miraculously defeated the Seleucids. The temple was cleansed and rededicated in 165 BCE, an event still celebrated during Hanukkah. The Hasmonean dynasty, descended from the Maccabees, established a brief Jewish independence until Rome took Jerusalem in 63 BCE. Under Roman rule, King Herod, which is 40 and 4 BCE, dramatically expanded the Second Temple, creating what became known as Herod's Temple. Starting around 20 BCE, Herod dismantled the existing structure and began a grand reconstruction project. While the core temple was built in just 18 months, the entire complex took over 80 years and was completed only in 63 CE, meaning the fully finished temple stood for just 7 years before its destruction.